Hey there, today we'll be building a landing page for a futuristic cryptocurrency. We'll be using Next.js 14, Aceternity UI, Framer Motion, and Tailwind CSS to accomplish this. We'll cover how to set up a project using Aceternity UI and take advantage of some of their pre-built components. We'll also make our landing page fully mobile responsive. By the end of this project, you will have the knowledge to use these technologies in your future Next.js projects. With that, let's jump into VS Code and start coding. Let's start off by going to the Aceternity UI documentation. Now let's go to components. And we're going to follow this Tailwind CSS installation guide. So let's copy this command. And now let's paste that into our VS Code terminal. And we're going to say no for Tailwind CSS here, and we're going to add it later. No for source directory, yes for app router, and then no for import alias. Wait for this to load. And yep, that worked. So now let's continue this installation guide. Now we're going to add the Tailwind CSS in. And we had to do this because we need a specific version. And yep, that worked. And now we're going to use that configuration instead of ours right here. So let's copy this configuration and replace ours with it for Tailwind config.js. And now let's add this to our global CSS. So let's delete all of this, paste that in. Now we can test it with npm run dev. So we can check it out at localhost 3000 now. Make a new tab. And cool, we got it set up. Now let's get rid of some of this boilerplate code. So let's go back to VS Code, and we're going to delete all of this. And let's just replace it with hello world for now. So I'll get rid of this class name and then type hello world here. And so we got rid of all of that. Now let's go to Aceternity UI and set up our background boxes. So that's this effect right here. As you see, it moves with the boxes. And we have to install dependencies first. So let's cd into our project and copy the dependencies right here. So let's paste those in. Cool, that worked. And now we have to add this utils file. So we're gonna do folder, utils, and then cn, cn.ts, and just paste in what's in here. It's just for merging class names. So we got that. And we have to edit our Tailwind config too for this add variables for color. This will allow the background boxes to work. So we'll start off adding these imports or requires. And let's add this function in too. And we gotta get rid of the type because it's JavaScript and not TypeScript. And let's add the plugin. So it's just the function name. And cool, so we got that all set up. Now let's actually add the component. So I'll copy this. And then I have to make my components folder. So components, UI, and then background boxes .tsx, and paste that in. So we're going to use this for the background boxes, and now this is actually going to be our component we use. So it's going to be a background container, so we can do the whole background. And I'm going to use RAFCE to make it. And this is going to accept children, so it's going to be what's displayed above our background. And they're going to be of type React node. So now let's work on styling our container. So let's go class name, and then it's going to be relative, and then with full, then overflow, hidden, BG slate, 400, flex call, items center, justify center, and we're going to have an inner one. And for this, it's going to be class name, absolute, inset 0, with full, height, full, BG cyan, 700, Z 20, and this is going to be a mask, so we're going to do mask image, radial, gradient, and then transparent, white, and then pointer, events none. So it's going to be a mask over our entire thing, and this is going to be a div, so nothing's going to be inside of it. And below this, we're going to add our boxes. So this is what's going to actually show up, and this is from Aceternity. So we'll import that from our component we added. And then below that, we'll just have our children. So these will be our other components. So let's add this into our main page. And so it's going to be background container. And this is going to wrap our components. So we'll put a div in for now, which is a class name of height 100, actually 90, 96, because 100 is not one of them. And cool, we see it's showing up now. And we have this cool effect where we can drag over it and boxes show up. Now let's build a text component, and this will display our header text. So let's call it text block.tsx, and I'll create that. And this is going to have an interface because we're going to pass in props. So we're going to have a main header and then a subheader. I think it'll both be strings. So let's pass those in here. So header, subheader, and they're going to be of type text block props. And now let's style this. So it's going to be H96. And let's pass in our text. So H1, and class name is going to be text, 6XL, medium text, 8XL, and then text white, relative, Z20, so it's above the background, margin top 44. And that's going to be the header. And now let's change this to a p tag. So wait, why isn't that working? Okay, there we go, p tag. And this is going to be our subheader. So class name, text center, margin top 2, text neutral, 300, and then relative, Z20 also, above the background. And let's add that in. So we'll replace this div with our text block. And for the header, we're going to say quant coin. And for the subheader, we're going to say the fastest cryptocurrency in the world. So let's see this. So cool, we got it showing up. I'm actually going to make quant coin all caps though. So replace that and that. Cool, so that looks a little better now. And yeah, you see how it gets smaller on the small device? That's because we used the Tailwind breakpoint. Now let's go back into the documentation and add this canvas reveal effect. So this is going to be this effect. And we have to install dependencies for this. So let's copy this and then cd into our project, install the dependencies. Cool. We have the util file already. And now we have to copy the component. So let's go into UI, make a new file. And it's going to be canvas reveal effect.tsx. And let's paste that in. There, this 3 is not showing up, but we have it installed. This just takes a bit. So, wait, quick fix maybe. We have it installed already, it's just not showing. So we're going to actually use this code for our component. So let's make a new component in here. And this is going to be feature cards.tsx. So let's paste that in. And we're going to make a few changes in here. So first we'll just display it, see if it's working. I gotta change this to feature cards. And let's add this in now. Cool, there we go. And let's check it out. Cool, so you see how it has the wrong background color? We're gonna fix that, and also the text that's inside of them. So let's go into our feature cards and first remove this background white. And that fixed that. And now we have to replace the text with what our features of the cryptocurrency are. So for this first one, it's going to be 100 times faster than Bitcoin. Just making up features for it. 15,000 transactions per second for the second feature. And then 7.8 billion transactions for the third feature. So now we got the canvas reveal effect working. And as you can see here, it's also fully mobile responsive. So we can scroll down and also it goes back. So now let's jump back into the documentation and work on our team member cards. So let's scroll down and we're going to look for card hover effect. And we're going to add this effect in. So let's start off by copying this component. So let's go to UI, new file, card hover effect.tsx, and let's paste that in. Cool. And these are going to be our team cards.tsx. So let's create this component. And this is going to be styled, so class name max width 5XL MX auto PX8. And in here we're going to display our cards, but first I'm going to copy and paste in what the card information is. I just generated this with ChatGPT. So I'm going to copy and paste that now. And I'll put that right up here. And it's going to have a title, description, and then a link to example.com. And these are just fake people who are cryptocurrency engineers. So let's now add in our hover effect. And it's going to take these items as props. So that's all we have to do for this. So we can go back into our main and then add the team cards in. And we're getting this error now, so we have to make it a use client component because this is rendered on the client, not on the server. It has state involved. So now let's scroll down, and cool, it was super easy to add this card hover effect now with our team members. And our website is looking pretty good so far. As you can see here, it's fully mobile responsive and it can extend out. Now let's add a couple more of these text block components. So I'm going to copy this and paste it right below here, and then change this text to our team. And for the subheader, let's say the best engineers in the world. And I'm going to copy this again for our next section. And we're going to call this one customers. And what our customers are saying. And let's see how that looks. So cool, we got the subheader there. And we also have our customers header. Now let's work on adding our customer reviews. So let's go to Aceternity UI and use this infinite moving cards component. So let's copy this and I'll paste that into the UI. So it's going to be infinite moving cards.tsx, and I'll paste that in here. And we have to fix this import. So this is going to be utilcn. Cool, that's fixed. Now let's make our component. So it's going to be reviews.tsx. And I'll create this. And this is also going to have external data from ChatGPT. So I'm going to generate that now and paste that in. And it's just going to be an array. So I'll paste that here. It's going to have a quote, name, and title. And these are going to be fake reviews. So let's style it now. So it's going to be height of 400 pixels. It's going to be rounded, medium, flex, flex call, item center, justify center, relative, and then overflow hidden. And in here we're going to have our cards. So it's going to be infinite moving cards. And then the items is going to be the testimonials. And then direction, right. And then speed, slow. So let's paste that in. And we have to use our correct component here. So it's going to be reviews. Now let's see how that looks. And we'll fix this box issue in a second, but the customer reviews are looking good. And it's also mobile responsive. So yeah, it's looking good so far. And before we fix the box issue, let's actually add in our nav bar. So let's go to the Aceternity UI documentation. And here we're going to look for a floating nav bar. If I can find it. Where is this? Nav. Here it is. So let's add in this component. New file, floating nav.tsx. Paste that in. And we're just going to use their code here for the nav. So let's go new component, navbar.tsx, and paste that in. We're going to make a couple edits to this, but we'll mostly just use theirs. Like, we don't need this dummy content. And let's make a couple changes after we add these tabular icons. We're missing this dependency. So let's copy and paste this. Cool, that worked. And then fix the import. There we go. And let's change the name to invest. And this can be team. We'll just fix those to nothing. These will just be a placeholder, Nav Bar. So let's put that in now. Yeah, we have to change the name to just Nav Bar. And let's see how that looks. Cool, now we have this nav effect when we scroll up. And it doesn't show up when we go down, just when we scroll up on the page. And before we're fully finished, I'll show you how to make the boxes cover the entire page. So let's go into our background boxes. And right here, this is the code that generates all the boxes and allows it to show colors when you hover over them. And this const rows and const columns, these are the values that show the dimensions. So if we change the value to 200, it shows up over way more of the page. And you can play around with it. If you make them too many boxes, then the page becomes really slow. So I like to leave it just at like 150, 200, 300. It gets a little slow, like right here. Like you see how it's not hovering correctly. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Congrats on finishing the project, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.